So recently we got quite a bit of content a while ago, one being the teaser and leaks for chapter 6 and the other being another episode of Tell Your Tale, which surprisingly was released a week after the last one instead of being bi-weekly as usual this year. And both of these new contents have something in common, which are dragons, which revealed quite a bit about them and yet made them even more stranger than they already are. Especially when comparing to G4's dragons. Like, they appear more pony-like in anatomy, having pony ears, squirrel hair, and even having cutie marks. To be fair, I do kinda like these changes. It makes things feel more different, though it makes things even stranger when knowing that, spoilers, Spike is still around. And I know it's Spike cause he's the only dragon who kept most of his G4 features, like his ears for example. Which also means these dragons are not the same kind of dragons we knew from old, and the people behind it definitely seem to be aware of these differences. So it really makes me question why and how did the dragons in G5 change and are more pony-like. And for that there really is only one simple answer to why. Yup, they literally made one of the creepiest ships of MLP a thing. The creators probably won't admit it, but that's literally what they did. Especially the fact that some of them have similar hairstyles to rarities. To be fair though, crossbreeding a dragon and a pony isn't really that weird when you think about Kirans. Though the thing is, these aren't Kirans, these are big dragons. So yeah, it's not that weird, but it's still weird, especially when it's definitely involving this ship. My one question though is, if all dragons are all Spike's descendants, since he might be the only G4 dragon still alive. Or maybe some dragons are descendants of other G4 dragons, since they were accepted into the pony society at the end of G4. But we're not quite sure. For the possibility though, if dragons and ponies can actually crossbreed with each other, is well, arguable since it's still a fantasy setting. Besides that, what do I personally think about the G5 dragons in general? Honestly, I kinda like that they have a more pony-like appearance, yet also kinda disappointed that most just look the same and also look kinda unappealing sometimes. They look much better in Tell Your Tale. The 2D allows them to look more distinguishable and more appealing, obviously. Besides these dragons, Spike just looks off. I mean, yes, Spike sure has some inconsistent growth forms in the past, and to be fair, in a way he looks sorta similar to one of the forms he had when turning into a rampaging dragon, but it still looks way too off to actually think this is what Spike ended up as after G4. Especially when this is how he last looked like in G4. How did this become to this? For a long time, I've been hoping to see a cool, unique, full adult design for Spike, much like everyone else. But instead, we get something that looks like a literal off-brand Spyro, like every other dragon in G5. Like, they really were not trying with the head to look in any way like Spike. Like, they could have just changed it up just a little bit at least. He also looks way too female. Or who knows, maybe that isn't really Spike and it's actually its daughter or something, I don't know. Would at least explain some of its changes better. Either way, I'm not really that impressed by the dragons personally. But there still are things I like about them. But yeah, these were my thoughts on the whole thing about dragons in G5. Personally, I wish they would put at least a bit more time into them. But I'm just asking too much. But hey, it's still nice seeing them and I am excited for chapter 6. But I'm also a little worried about it as well. Anyways, that's it for the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments. See y'all next time. Auf Wiedersehen.